What's up, Fight Fam? Today we're doing a podcast with Spencer Sled, here with Eric Smith, and it was a great podcast. He's a MMA fighter, a personal trainer, does a specialty with the Landmine University. Man, he's doing really well in life, and I just want to bring his life to the audience because I'm definitely sure that you can learn something from him. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Perfect. I wish we could have mixed up in it today, but obviously the podcast wouldn't have been that great inside of a loud gym. But dude, I'm glad to have you on. Tell us about you, man. Give the audience kind of what's going on in your mind these days.
Well, my main focus right now is developing my fight career. So I'm just trying to get as much experience as I can, and I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm trying to say yes to literally whoever they put in front of me, whoever's willing to get in the cage with me and get that experience right now. I'm not too concerned with winning or losing. I'm concerned with getting the fights that's going to make me a better fighter. So,
what's your record right now?
Right now, I'm 3-0.
And how many people have dodged you?
Fucking a lot. Oh, man.
That's gotta kind of feel good, though, that people are ducking you, man.
Well, yes and no. But now my stuff is out there. There's no hiding from it anymore. Whenever I first was making my debut, I'm okay, everything's on private. I don't want anybody to have any glimpse of anything going into what I'm doing. Right. And so now I've at least had 3 fights, and now that those are all on YouTube. But what the crazy thing is the world is in for a complete surprise. The difference between last fight, which was in March, and the difference between now of how much of a better fighter I've become in that short amount of time is crazy. And I've been saying every single time that this fight's going to be the fight that I'm going to show my striking. And I've learned a lot of the fundamentals, but now I've been seeing a specific boxing coach who's really got my striking honed in, really, really developing my striking. So my next fight is the guy is first going to be expecting completely different fight. He's going to see that I'm a grappler, going to think that I'm going to want to take it down, which I'm not against, but the world is in for a complete surprise with what I can do with these things now, man.
One of the funniest things in MMA to me is you get these high-level wrestlers, the best wrestlers in the world, and they just want to stand up and bang once they learn how to throw hands.
Yes.
But it's they just give up on the wrestling. I'm like Justin Gaethje. Yeah. Right? He's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
And the dude just wants to knock people out all the time.
Yeah. He's got that power, man.
Bro, listen, don't forget you're a wrestler.
For sure,
okay?
For sure.
All right.
I'm going to do whatever it takes to win the fight. If I got to take it to the ground, I got to take it to the ground. But, I'll always have that, which actually my second fight showed me that I can rely on that if I ever need to. My second fight, I was supposed to get in a dogfight with this guy. This guy was ready to bang. And I knew it. And literally the first kick he throws at me blinds me.
Damn.
And this was one of those fights. Okay, everyone's going to see how good I am at striking. And literally the first kick he throws, I can't see it, just went black, bro. I was like, what just happened? I thought I got knocked out because it just, next thing you know, it went black. And in the video, you don't see it unless you slow it down. But because it looks like it just whizzes right past me. And nobody knows.
Toes caught the face?
Toe literally went into my eye. And it went black. And I thought, it took me a second to realize what happened. I was like, did I get knocked out? I'm still here. I'm still balanced. What's going on? And literally I thought about the game plan. I was like, game plan is to strike with him. I was like, that's stupid. I'm just going to go in there and take him down. And so I literally football tackled him. That's the best way I can describe it. It wasn't a clean takedown. It was the weirdest fake overhand right ever. It was nowhere near connecting him. I just was, here it is, tackle. And freaking just drove him to the cage and then drug him down Khabib style and found a knee bar that I've never practiced. I saw Felipe Rocha do it once, and it just was in my mind, and I just did it.
Felipe Rocha is a beast.
Dude, yeah.
He was over at Artistry the other day.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
No air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
That's how you gotta do it, man.
No, it's not.
Dude, that's how you gotta do it, man.
Dude, I just spent a bunch of money to get AC at the dark side. And
dude, hold on. Let me say this real quick. Eric, thank you so much for being one of my sponsors, brother. You seriously, you've made such an impact in not only my life, but I know that you've made an impact in so many people's around you life. It's a pretty amazing thing, man. You were literally the first sponsor I ever had. You were the first person to ever say, hey man, I like what you're doing. If you ever need a sponsor, please reach out to me. And literally since that day, I was like, wow, what? Okay. And you literally have been there since the beginning.
Look, man, let me tell you something. I don't sponsor just anybody. I sponsor people who I see putting the work in. and you're putting the work in, man. I sponsor Scotty because he's at the gym every single day. He puts in the work. Sponsor Randy. He's always in the gym. He's always working. Those are the guys who are really giving it that shot that I really want to get behind, you know, because I told Scotty this a long time ago. I don't invest in businesses and things. I invest in people, right? Because I think people can give you the ultimate return, right? And so I'm happy to do it, man. I appreciate the kind words. It's nice of you to say, man. So,
man, I really appreciate you.
You know, I just want dubs, dude. I just want my guys to go out and win and
Sir.
have opportunities that they wouldn't have had otherwise, right? Like when we went to ADCC, a bunch of those guys, they never would have been able to do that, man. But I put some money out there, and it was awesome. It built our team up to be a lot stronger. So, okay, so you're 3-0. Your fight that you just had signed up last week. What happened?
Okay, so, man, I'm training super hard for this fight, and I thought that this guy's got some grappling experience from what we studied in the tapes. So I know that he wasn't going to be an easy. It wasn't going to be easy on the ground. I was going to have to earn everything. I was totally ready for it. And then I actually injured my knee where I couldn't grapple at all. So like for the past like 3 or 4 weeks, I couldn't grapple at all. Anytime I like did any kind of internal rotation like this, which you see in jiu-jitsu a lot, anytime I bent my knee like this, I couldn't do. And so I was literally like, okay, now it went from like, I'll grapple if I have to like, I need to avoid grappling at all costs because I was so unstable with this. My knee was like totally effed. And so I was just gonna show everybody my boxing. And you're my opponent and you're watching this right now. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
If he had that flu, then, man, there's nothing the guy could do. You know?
Yeah. So what happened was I made it to the weigh-ins, was on weight, and I was kind of expecting him not to make weight. And then I get on the scale, weigh in officially, and then I hear that the fight's off because he's sick. Couldn't cut the weight because he's sick, and I didn't care what he was going to come in at. I didn't care if he was 10 pounds over. I was going to fight him regardless. But then they told me that the fight's off because he's sick, and his coach is like kind of pushing him to not take the fight because he's not going to be able to perform, which I get. And if he's really sick, which I think that he was, then obviously that's going to kind of play in your mind. That's going to give you a disadvantage in the fight. But how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
How bad you want it.
They said Michael Jordan played Game 7 of the World Championship, NBA, had the flu.
Damn.
Dropped 55 or 60 points, I think.
Dang.
Yeah, so crazy. So where are you training at right now?
So right now I have, I would say 3 main hubs, right, in regards to martial arts. I train most of my jiu-jitsu at Revolution Dojo, and they've got a couple different locations that I frequent. I train my MMA over at War Training Center. And then
Jeremy's my guy, man.
Jeremy and Adam over there, man. Yeah, they're great. And then I have boxing with Coach Joel Rivera over at Texas Striking Academy. And it's actually a beautiful thing that they all work synergistically with each other. They all have relationships with each other. Like Jeff Messina knows Jeremy Mahone, and Jeremy and Adam both know Joel, and we all kind of work in sync together. So the stuff that I've worked with Adam over here, Joel helps me hone it in a different way. Like they're helping me find my style, which I would say is kind of like if Mike Tyson learned how to wrestle, it's kind of like my style.
Dude, that's so key, dude. I've seen people train at other gyms, and then the gyms have arguments about what the fighter's style should be. Yeah. And that just, like, dude, I was literally sitting at a table eating a post-weigh-in meal with my boy, and they wanted him to strike, and I was like, dude, hold on. You tell me he's going to kick you. You have 5 wins by submission. You know that this dude's going to open the fight with a kick, and you're going to eat it and throw strikes. Like, why would you not go in for the takedown and do what you're good at?
Do what you're good at.
So it's you can see, and then it's like, me and the striking coach, I don't really know him that well. It's just, I know him through this guy. So then it's just like, we don't really talk to each other. It's just like, dude, which one are you doing here? Are we striking? What's the game plan? So having coaches that work together, and then obviously not trying to impose their style on you, but help you find, dude, that's big money right there.
Dude, Scotty brought up something the other day that really struck a chord with me. He's like, dude, you see all these guys training wrestling, and boxing, and jiu-jitsu, but you don't see a lot of places where they're doing MMA training just as straight up MMA, because it's a different game when you put all those 3 things together or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about that the other day?
Yeah. the distance. And another thing is like a lot of people do when they're striking classes, they're wearing big gloves all the time, and they're never taking a full class to work with the actual gear that you'll be using, which is no shin pads and small gloves, right? So like you might be doing, you know, MMA, but you got shin pads on and big gloves on, so no one's even taking anybody down, and everyone's throwing way harder, right? Everyone's like cut, like with the big gloves, you can literally eat shots. You can like people start to put their hands down. People put their hands up like this because you can really block eyesight, and the power, the shots don't come in as well with the big gloves. I'm wearing gloves, you're wearing gloves, but if I'm wearing 4 ounces, you can't fight out here unless you're like John Jones and you have a 10-inch reach over everybody. You essentially almost have to be here because one of your fingers, you're not going to be able to close your hands fast enough to land any strikes, and they'll call you for the fingers, and your fingers will get fucked up if they catch any punches because it doesn't have all that padding.
Also, when you've got your guard up like this with big gloves on, you can block all those punches. When you got little gloves on, those punches are slipping through, right?
Yeah.
What's the worst shot you've taken so far?
I would say my last fight, the guy rocked me pretty good a couple times, really tested my chin. And it went from the first 2 rounds, I took him down because I was just wanting to dominate him. And I took it down, ground and pound, submission attempts and all that kind of stuff, to like the 3rd round, pacing me up, and I have to take him down to survive. I went into the 3rd round with like a mindset of like, okay, I'm winning now, I just gotta just kind of coast a little bit. And then I know that he was like, well, I'm losing, I gotta freaking take it to him. So this dude was piecing me up a little bit, rocked me a couple times, and I went, like, I know he hit me once, and I was like, ugh. Like, the world's spinning right now, what is going on? And I just freaking had to dive and take him down and survive. So I would say that's the worst shot. I haven't been rocked too hard. Actually, well, my worst shots have been in practice, really.
Really?
Like, knees to the face, legs to the face, hard punch. Like, I've definitely gotten hit harder in practice than I have in a fight so far.
You know what they say, right? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, I started doing striking, I guess about 9 months ago with Victor. And dude, I went to class one day and I got hit in the face and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I hate this. I don't like it, man. Don't punch me in the face, bro.
So the gym you're putting it all together with is War, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good gym, man. They've got some. Well, one, their whole grappling style is built on getting on top. Like even the pure nogi guys, they all kind of go for like front head and arm guillotines. Use it to get back on top and smash from like top half. So that's kind of like a perfect style for MMA.
I would say like it's like MMA jiu-jitsu. You know, like like they're very good at making everything MMA related, like MMA wrestling, MMA.
They want to wrestle fuck everybody's.
Yeah. They got some good talent in there for real. They have like legit UFC fighters in there. They got some legit professional fighters. They have like a lot of people on the up and coming. It's a great place to be honest, man.
I saw Rain just got signed.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Hector over there, he's my boy. So
he's
I like
super
mixing it
good,
up
super talented. Man, it's crazy how talented he is at jiu-jitsu, man. He is
fucking good, man.
He's so good.
I remember first time he came into Dark Side, me and him rolled, and I kind of slept on him. And I gave him, and he fucking straight ankle locked me, and I was so pissed off about it, dude. I still haven't had a chance to get you back, man.
One day.
I'll just sick Scotty on you because I know you'll probably whoop me. Why don't you roll with Scotty next, Spencer? Oh, man. Where did you wrestle at?
High school called Klein Collins.
Okay.
It's up in Spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do? I mean, did you go to state? Did you get any accolades?
No, I ended up...
The reason I ask is, like, in the jiu-jitsu world right now, it seems like wrestling is, like, the #1 focus for people.
Yeah, it gives you such a huge advantage of, like, being able to control somebody. Wrestling, though, it's all fast twitch muscles.
Right.
So, like, you literally, it's all, like, a sprint. Everything you're doing is, like, a sprint. And it's all super aggressive, super forward pressure. And, yes, obviously there's a lot of technique to it, but it's, like a wrestler's grip, man, like there's so much application. It's such a huge advantage for anybody who has like wrestling experience going into jiu-jitsu. It's a whole nother type of thing because you get somebody who never did that and they go into jiu-jitsu, they can get kind of used to being lazy jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely.
You know, but you get someone who has like a wrestling, like with wrestling comes a mindset too. Wrestling and that pressure, that muscle development, that fast switch muscle development that you get from wrestling, combine that with like learning how to submit somebody on top of that, man, wrestlers have a huge advantage going into jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely. And I think right now with American jiu-jitsu, the way it's moving is the wrestling and the scrambling is what is separating the lazy jiu-jitsu guys from these guys who are now world champions. I mean, you watch the Nicky Rods and the J Rods and the Ethan Cronstons. Those guys are non-stop, like scrambling almost a whole round.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That's what kills me.
Dude.
You know? Where are you at on that level right now, cardio-wise? And I ask because you're a personal trainer, so you probably do your own nutrition and your own like cardio stuff.
I do everything except for the martial arts stuff for myself. So my conditioning right now, I would say, is pretty decent. It has a lot more room to grow. And that really, I would say, comes with being more comfortable and being more loose. Right? When, like, I would say my conditioning is okay, but like with my last fight, I was throwing everything 100% and wild punches and super. So I got tired really, really fast.
Yeah.
So it's more about me getting more comfortable and efficient with how I do things, because I can do a jiu-jitsu all day and I won't get tired.
Right.
And but it's just really a matter of me getting more comfortable, more efficient with my movement.
What do you do for your cardio personally? Like, what is your...
So with conditioning, there's a lot of different things that you have to do, and I would say divide it up into like 3 different intensity zones. Right? We'll call this. We have like a kind of like a recovery zone. We have like something that's in the middle, like we call this like a stimulation zone, and then we have like a high output. We call this like a development zone, or like a red zone. And you want to spend most of your time in this recovery zone. Like 80% of your conditioning work should be in this like that pretty much is up to like from like between like 100 to like less than around 150 beats per minute. And then typically about like that mid zone is around like the 150 to like a 165, almost pushing 170 depending on the person. And then anything that's like above that,
we're talking about plus, beats per minute on the heart rate.
Beats per minute, like percentage of your heart rate max. There's basically an amount of time that you want to be able to put into each one of these. So what I'm doing right now for conditioning, I make sure that I do steady state cardio, and I play with the variability of intensity on that and duration. So like I'm doing like 3 miles and I'll run either really light, I'll run kind of like a mid pace, track my heart rate, see if I'm like more than like 130 or if I'm like 150, or like I can do kind of interval training.
Do you wear one of the monitors like a strap?
Yeah, I'll do like a chest strap. Gotcha. And then like the most important conditioning when it comes to fighting is doing this very specific thing that you're about to do, and that comes with the very specific environment like you were talking about earlier with the big gloves and stuff. You want to literally get yourself in the environment as close as you can replicate it to as possible. So like that means getting like small gloves, that means getting noise, crowd noise, that means being in a cage, that means like maybe with the lighting, like literally trying to recreate that very specific environment that you're about to compete in. One will increase your comfortability in there, so you'll have like less nerves because you've been there so many times. So that's a big part of conditioning as well. So doing the very specific thing that you're going to be doing, as specific as you can get, and then just playing around with like, there's so many different methods and so many different things that you got to do
right
leading up to that.
Yeah, so I remember you looked at the air bike in the garage. Those Tabatas, dude, I feel like that's as close to a grappling cardio exercise that you can get instead of grappling.
Yes.
Because it's a 20-second sprint or a scramble, and then you kind of rest for 10 seconds, but you're still continuing to move. And then you sprint for 20 seconds. You do that, get up, hit the bag a little bit. I would imagine the only thing that would be better is to be sparring with the person, and then after you're done sparring for whatever your 30 seconds, move over and start grappling immediately with another person. So you have 2 fresh people. I mean, do people do that? Is that something that people do? Yeah.
So like you can talk about setting like a very specific time format. Like if I'm doing 3-minute rounds with 1 minute rest, I could be doing a 3-minute round and varying different like exercises. I can go on the echo bike and I can sprint for like 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Go right into like doing takedowns with somebody. Go right into striking. Go right back into the bike. Do some kind of carries and do that and stimulate different things that you're doing in that 3-minute time period, and all while keeping your heart rate up or doing things that you'll like that's a time format and like specific exercise that you can do in that time format. that's one way to do it.
I can't remember which coach it was. I think I heard Rogan talking about him. That they don't even at the end of camp, the last 2 to 3 weeks of camp, they don't do any striking or grappling. They literally only focus on cardio. The coach is like, look, you already know how to fight. Let's get your cardio beyond amazing so that you're just going to wear your opponent down with your fighting. You know?
That's smart, because a lot of people will, like, about that time is where you want to really start tapering off, and then just depending on the coach and depending on the camp and depending on what they believe in, you know, what their mindset is on that. You know, weird things happen always, like that 2 weeks leading up to the fight. So like that coach could probably have a shit ton of fighters that got injured, like me. I literally got injured like 2-3 weeks out from my fight, and so like that's like the time where things happen all the time. So like they probably there might be a strategy to reduce risk in that time period too. But yes, like you're saying, cardio. Like cardio is king. Cardio. If you have better cardio than your opponent, you control the pace the entire time.
What's the other thing they say? Cardio makes cowards of us.
Yes,
all.
It does.
Dude,
you could be putting it on somebody. You get tired. You turn into a little bitch. You know, like you're like, nah, I'm tired of that. And then next thing you know, they're putting it on you.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. The week before competition is the most scary for me because I still have to roll hard. But that is the most like all it takes is someone to hit my pinky the wrong way, and I'm gonna be pissed. You know, so it makes a lot of sense to not do any hard sparring on the way up. Maybe just like drills. But yeah, I get super scared that week because in California, he sponsored me to go to California for the ADCC. Dude, literally the Sunday, I pulled my fucking forearm. Training with Martine, we were doing stand-up rounds. I was like, hey coach, I'll help the MMA guys out. He's like, okay, do takedowns with Martine, who's, you know, literally revving up for a fight, and I'm coming in like dry, and I'm like, oh fuck. And I pulled my forearm muscle, dude. So I had to I didn't get a refund, nothing. I flew out to California and did media and stuff, but I didn't get to compete. So it's like that. And going into the next ones, everyone's like, have you signed up yet? Have you signed up yet? Have you signed up yet? And I'm like, guys, I'm like super paranoid about signing up for these tournaments because the weekend before I might get hurt. Right. So I'm gonna wait till the very last day. And if I'm still healthy, I'll go.
Have you thought about doing ADCC or anything like that? Dude, some of Jeremy's guys would do so well in that environment. And I'm like Hector?
Yeah, I think
Hector's pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
He's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes hard with Scotty. Scotty's got 40 pounds on the guy, you know?
Yeah, he's slick, man.
He is. He caught me with the heel hook first time we went, and I was like, oh, okay, this dude, what is going on?
Yeah.
So you are married, have a house. Is this your job?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is my everything.
So what you're saying is your wife pays all the bills?
No. Oh. Right now, my wife's not working. She has an Etsy business.
Oh, cool.
And so that she does that. It's like a passion project of hers. You know,
cool.
She's like crafting for weddings and stuff. It's really cool what she does.
She's super supportive of you, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So supportive.
Does she train at all?
She used to.
Okay.
She used to. She used to do some jiu-jitsu, and now she's getting back into lifting weights. And really, we're just kind of preparing to have our first kid.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
You guys trying?
Not yet.
Okay. I love it when people say we're trying for a kid. I'm like, oh, so he's busting loads inside you? That's what's going on? Okay. It's like, that's where my brain goes, and I'm like, now you're making me picture you and her. You know, like, anyway, sorry, that's off track. But he brought us some cookies.
Yes, feel free to have some.
Yeah, I might have one.
Yes,
yeah, they're good.
Yes,
Speaking of the wife made the cookies.
Yes.
What's your wife's name?
Michelle.
Michelle, what's up, Michelle?
Yeah. Literally the best cookies.
Dude.
The best.
Would you care for a cookie, Toph?
Yes.
Yes. Cookie wants a tofu.
Here, I'll enjoy
Oh
it.
my god.
Now I'm telling you, we're actually working on a protein cookie recipe.
Huh?
A protein cookie recipe.
Oh really?
Yeah. So that's where I come in. She has the
flavor
talent to be able to have the flavor.
If this was a protein cookie,
taste.
I would eat 50 of these. They are so good. Props to you, Michelle. So what's the Etsy business she's doing?
Yeah, so it's a crafting thing. She specializes in like sand ceremony sets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a unity set. You know how like weddings, so sometimes they'll have like a unity thing. Sometimes people will tie a knot together or something, or some people will. What she does is it's like these jars that will be stenciled, or like they put their name on it, like the initials S+M, better together, whatever kind of saying, design. And then they'll each at some point pour a different color sand into the middle. And so it's like,
okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool concept.
I was going to ask you about the Landmine University, man. So tell me what's up with that.
So Landmine University, that's some great stuff, man. That has been one of the biggest things that I've seen or that I've done that has the most transfer of speed, power, conditioning, agility into my sport. It's this concept, 3 main concepts.
Well, tell people what landmining is before.
Landmine? So they've probably seen it before. It's essentially a fitting that a barbell goes into. It's like a swivel joint, so you kind of swirl it around like this, and the barbell still has the ability to spin. And what it is it enables you to apply forward pressure, forward intent to everything that you're doing. And that's different than, like, let's say if you put a barbell on your back and you squat, right? You're just going up and down. You don't have this forward intent, right? So everything we're doing is going forward. It also does 2 other things. It's called coiling and rotation. Coiling is this.
The wind up?
It's this relationship that I have with my hip and my shoulder. And what I'm doing is essentially creating a short side and a long side. So I want to bring one side really close together and the other side far apart and stretch.
Oh, okay.
And so this is very applicable because if you think of like how Mike Tyson boxes, or really how you throw a punch or walk, do anything, really, especially locomotion, there's always this concept of coiling. And the best way to show you is to do a Conor McGregor walk.
Oh yeah, the bully walk.
That's like a very like kind of pronounced way to do it. So essentially I'm creating this short side and this long side, and notice I'm bringing my hip up with it and my shoulder down to meet, right? And now on the opposite side it's stretching. So really it starts looking like this, right? So when I throw a punch, if I'm on my backside, I'm creating this backside coil right here, right? And if I throw a punch, if I throw a cross, I'm now in this front side coil.
Oh, so it's just
so
like...
I have this short side, and I'm basically able to transfer power using the spine as an engine, right? If you look at a baby, how they crawl, right? It's essentially, without getting on the ground, it's kind of doing this motion, right?
Right.
It's a natural thing to do. How a shark swims in the water is using that spine as an engine, right? So we combine that coil with rotation. And so the easiest way I can explain it is if I like slip into this position right here, I can come up with an uppercut real easily.
And that looks like the Tyson. That looks like a Tyson position when he's about to
Mike Tyson does, here, he'll do a big one.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just constant coiling motion with forward pressure. So here, boom.
So then the landmining
is a progressive overload concept to get you better at coiling and rotation with forward intent. Because I can continue to add weight on the bar. Apply progressive overload. It's like the strength room equivalent of getting better at coiling rotation. It is literally what the future of strength training is for any combat sport athlete. Any athlete in general needs to train rotation, right? If you play football, you're not doing everything in a bilateral stance all the time, right? You're going to turn a direction. You're going to cut, right? You're going to throw something and run and chase after it, right? Not everything you're doing is a bilateral stance. There's time and place for that. But as an athlete, you work in all 3 planes of motion, right? You have
golf, baseball.
Golf, right? The other thing that I just learned is this WEC method stuff, which really plays into the golf and the swinging mechanics and throwing, right?
Where the hell did you get into this at?
It's so funny. I was doing like traditional strength training stuff on a landmine, and posting it. It was like, I think I was doing like just some random like rowing exercises or like pressing exercises with it. And my friend sent me this link to this Landmine University stuff, and I looked at it, I was like, what the I couldn't tell what I was looking at, but I was like, there's something here. What is that? And it's like all this concept of here to here to here to here. And I'm like, what is going on with that? There's something I got to learn about that. So I got into contact with them and I signed up for a certification course. And I did the level 1 certification course. One of the most life-changing things I ever went through. And so with that, I just basically took it into my own practice for about a year. And then I got the level 2 course and I learned even more in depth about that system. And then what I did was learn from the person who taught that person about coiling rotation. So essentially, here's this body of knowledge that is Landmine University, right? This body of knowledge stems from this right here, which is the Weck method, right? David Weck. And his principles teach you locomotion, teach you how to swing, right? And how to throw. Right. Those are the 3 main concepts. There's also so many other things that it goes into, like external torsion, internal torsion.
So this was already a thing for like pro athletes?
Well, it's not in the mainstream method of like strength and conditioning.
So you're saying right now that you think this landmine training is going to be the new...
It is the future.
It isn't for...
I'm going to show everybody that this is the future. I'm going to show everybody that this is literally how you get better at like applying your techniques. Like this is how you like... You can only get so far with only bodyweight training and developing the technique and doing that for so long, right? But how does a wrestler get even stronger? You gotta train with weights. You gotta train with more load, and that's basically the weight room equivalent of how to do that, right? The guy himself, Alex Kanellis, he was a wrestler, so he understands how to apply these principles into wrestling, which is forward intent. A wrestler, if he's going backwards, he's probably losing, right? The wrestler always wants to go forward. A wrestler has, in jiu-jitsu too, if you're on your back, you're playing guard, you're going to here a lot, right? You gotta be strong here, this elbow to hip, this here, right? And there's different elbow positions and like, again, it's a whole concept of coiling. And if you're really strong here and you can turn into it and apply rotation to it, forward intent, you are, I'm telling you, insane levels of strength.
I'm gonna get Martine over with him and try it out.
I'm telling you guys.
What you're saying seems to go a lot in line with the functional patterns. Have you heard of them?
Yes and no at the same time. I'm not too deep into functional patterns, but I know that David Weck and the guy's name is escaping me right now.
God, Randy would be just shaking his head.
Dude, the functional patterns guy, like, the way he tries to go about trying to explain his side of the thing, like, comes off as a freaking arrogant dude, man. Like he is a very like kind of stuck in his ways. But David Weck, the guy who's created this Weck method and all this kind of stuff, has kind of shown and shown that, hey, he's the guy who did what's called head over foot. It's like whenever your leg's taking a step, you're having your head, you feel more balanced when your head is over your foot here. And like there's like this whole concept. I can't really speak on my level of knowledge compared to those two guys. You know, I can't really, I'm going to sound like a dumbass.
Those guys like medical doctors and shit.
Yeah, these guys are...
Fuck those guys.
Well, one of the major things that I noticed was...
I trust Spencer Sled over those douchebags.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I noticed is, because the functional patterns thing, and the reason I bring it up is because they mentioned throwing, swinging, and walking and running. And but the problem is that you have to have this gigantic ass machine that's like thousands and thousands of dollars. And I was just like, well, okay. So then you try to go to a trainer, and there's only one in Houston, and he was like $350 for like 2 hours. Jeez. And that was just for the one session. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, it's not worth it, right?
Well, you can get a RMT club. RMT stands for Rotational Movement Training, and this is really cool stuff, man. There's a really cool concept. This will teach you how to throw, and that's just one tools of many tools that he has. And all this stuff is online. Like you could buy this stuff online and like learn about it online. When you buy their products, this is kind of a plug actually right now. If you go into David Weck website and you shop for their products, when you buy a product, you get a whole instructional system with it. So like you can literally buy something and learn how to do it and apply it on your own. And the way they teach is they simplify it to the point where it's very easy to understand. Like you can teach somebody how to throw in 3 simple steps, and it's a numbered system. The way I learned it was a number system. I need to also be standing to like show you what I'm doing with my hips as well. But the basic concept is I'm bringing it to, this is position 1, position 2, and position 3 is cutting across like this. And I can just
It's like the hammer exercises.
Yes,
You know,
you're talking about the band
the
hammer?
little maces that they
Yeah.
have, and they take them out.
The
and
club.
they
Yeah.
throw
Yeah.
them in. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Similar to that. Oh, that's
Well,
crazy, man.
One of the things I like about the landmine though is that it's like at all the gyms. Pretty much
Yeah.
every gym that I go to, they have the
Things
attachment.
stapled down to the floor.
So it's like I was just thinking, I was like, man, if I wanted to do some, because I think about the twisting a lot. Like the only way that you can really get twisting action in, like let's say if you're at a regular gym, is to pretty much do the machine abs. Like that's, but I think about, I forced myself to do like 4 or 5 sets because I'm like, man, I've seen people be in a twisted motion and try to push and then the rib pops. And I've had my ribs popped a lot. So one of the main things that I work on is always like that twisting motion under a load. And so I think about it a lot when I see you doing the landmine. It's like, man, maybe I should start working some more landmine stuff in.
There is a difference between twisting and rotation too. So twisting is this. Rotation is this. With it's all involving with the feet and the hips.
Do you have a
That's
website?
rotation. I have a website, but all this stuff that I'm talking about is not on the website.
Yeah.
You can find all that on my Instagram though.
Okay, and that's what?
But this is twisting.
What's your
I'll
Instagram?
have power here. Sled_fitness.
Okay,
Sled_fitness.
nice.
Yeah.
What would you charge someone to come out and do a landmine session for an hour or so, however long it is? You don't want to quote your price out. Okay, I get that. That's business savvy. It's like, well, for you it's 100, but for that guy it's 200.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it's definitely worth it. It is definitely worth it because this is the future. I'm telling you right now, this is
Shit,
literally
I'm down.
the
I'll go
future.
try it out. You want to go try it out, Scotty?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm also I'm doing seminars. I want to
Really?
I want to try
I
to
saw that. I
bring this
saw
into the
that.
masses. I'm planning one actually at War Training Center towards the end of July, I believe. July 23rd is what we're.
So what are you going to do, bolt down 10 of them into the ground?
No, we don't. So actually, with the landmine system, there's 2 things that you can buy that will make it portable, super portable. One is like this attachment that all you need is 2 45-pound bumper plates, and it basically goes into that, and it's a swivel joint.
Okay.
And you just put the barbell into that. And there's another one. It basically looks like a kind of like a tennis ball attachment that you put on one end of the barbell that you can put into like a corner of a wall, and it still gives you that swivel rotational action that you can use. You just need like a corner of the wall. So what I do is I have 45-pound plates, and I have those swivel joints.
Gotcha.
And I basically just put it in there, bring my barbells and plates and equipment into there. Right now I can essentially train up to like 8 to 12 people
Simultaneously?
right now. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool, man.
Yeah. I want to bring it to
cool.
dark side. I want to see if I can get like a seminar going at dark side.
Yeah, let's do it,
Yeah.
dude.
I think it
I'm
would
pretty
be
sure
awesome.
we can get Vic. Let's wait till we get the AC in there. Dude, tell them about artistry with rolling with Felipe.
Yeah, no, it was brutal. Yeah, he doesn't have AC, and well, that's the thing I was gonna say about the heat too, man. Is you know, I do love the heat. I personally, I kind of like it because it just makes me feel like a badass. I'm like, dude, I literally sweat more than any other human here, and so I do enjoy it. But another thing I think about too is like, well, one, I was extremely worried about getting hurt because it was like the room was spinning, dude. I was trying not to puke everywhere, rolling with Felipe. And then another thing too is a lot of times, if you really think about it, when you compete, it's almost always in a really cold room.
Yep.
It's almost never hot. Like it's almost the problem with when you compete is that you're always too cold. And so what can happen is that when you're always in a hot room, you're just always hot. So your body's warm. And so you don't really have to worry that much about preparation. Just the drilling of the class puts you in. Dude, we were drilling takedowns for one. Man, everyone trains an hour and a half, it seems like. The dark side's cool. It's only an hour. So it's a benefit in a sense that after the class, I get to do whatever I want. So for 15, 20 minutes, I always drill what I want. But when the base class is an hour and a half and we drill for 45 minutes straight, dude, I was completely drenched, dude.
Yeah.
Head to toe, I was like, this was a fucking workout. And then we rolled after that, and dude, I couldn't focus. I couldn't do it. I was literally in survival mode like this the whole time. And it just reminded me, it's like, man, the heat is awesome, but if it can hold you back in its own ways. Did you have anything to say about the heat?
Oh man, I think it's a great conditioning tool. I think the heat kind of like gives you that elevated heart rate because now you work a little bit harder to cool down. So I think if you can acclimate to the heat and get used to training at that high kind of heart rate and that temperature, I think that gives you a huge competitive advantage because when you go into a compete, you have that elevated heart rate because your adrenaline's pumping, you have the nerves and all that. So if you get used to that, I think that it can play a great role into developing your conditioning.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I think that's total bullshit. give me a 74-degree room, dude. I want to roll in 74 degrees, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to train in the heat with in jiu-jitsu, everyone's just pouring sweat on you.
And here's the other thing. I think it's dangerous, man.
Oh,
you can't get any
slippery
grip on the mat.
Yeah,
when
it's slippery.
You can't wrestle.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to wrestle, dude.
Yeah, no
You
way.
know, you try to scramble and your fucking knee slips out from underneath you. But it also makes you learn how to adapt to that situation because you don't know what match you're going to be rolling on when you show up sometimes, you know? I don't know. I'm just a pussy maybe, but whatever. These guys are like, yeah, 100 degrees, let's fucking go. And I'm like, give me a cool 73. And
Well, Josh made a good point. He was saying that he works out in the sun. So he was like, dude, he's like, I have to pound water all day and then I lose it the second I get to the gym.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, it's like a lot of people aren't as serious as we are. And so they ain't trying to die at the end of the day after they've been suffering all day.
Dude, I've gone 10-round Tuesdays in the summer before we had this air conditioner. Dude, I literally got like you did, and I'd have to go sit in my car with the AC on full blast for like 20 minutes and cool down before I could drive home and like feel okay driving.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad, dude. But the winter comes around, dude, I'm all day. I go all day. It's cold in the gym. I'm like, let's go! You know, I don't know. It's weird, man.
I definitely like lifting weights like in a colder room. So that way I can like recover faster.
Yeah. Tell me about the BP 157.
So
what do you know about it?
I don't really know too much, honestly. I just got recommended from a friend, and I don't know what the whole outlook on peptides are right now. So I don't know like
I think
it's
they're
gonna get me in
supposed to
trouble
be
or not.
Great. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I think they're great. It's not a steroid.
No.
It just basically
They're completely legal to buy.
Yeah, totally. I have no. I honestly can't really talk about peptides in a way that like
Knowledgeable.
Yeah, I don't know what honestly.
Do you have any experience with them?
Specifically, I messed my knee up pretty bad. I didn't get an official diagnosis, but I think I partially tore something.
Right.
And I got some BPC.
157.
Yeah. I got that one from a wellness place. I believe it's called Kuya in Austin. Super cool place, worth checking out.
Okay.
And basically, they gave me like a month's supply of that peptide, and the nurse in there actually pre-filled the insulin syringes with how much exact peptides would last me for like a month, and I just every day would just twice a day put it into my knee, and literally every single time I injected it into my knee, I felt it heal a little bit better. Like it was like a 1 to 2% better increase every single time I injected it.
Imagine that. Imagine that there's something out there that can actually help you heal without surgery, and it's not
nice.
FDA approved.
People
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, people have been telling me about it for forever. I just haven't ever
Dude,
committed to using it.
it's exactly what you think it is. You think orthopedic surgeons want BPC 157 to be something that people can use all the time? No, I don't want that. Come on, man.
I think there's a lot of promise in like stem cells too.
Yeah, I know. I keep hearing about that. For a while, I was thinking about going for my neck because, dude, I got to where I couldn't even turn it. But I took a month off because I had the flu, and then I pulled the muscle in my back. Get this. That's how you know you're getting old, Spencer. How old are you, by the way?
29.
Okay, good. You're still in your 20s. I reached over to grab an energy drink out of the refrigerator the other day. When I stood up, my whole back went right. Dude, I couldn't sleep for like 2 days. It was so bad. It was awful. I was walking like an old man. So what's the worst injury you've sustained in your career then?
Luckily, I have not had anything that's kept me on the sidelines for that
You better
long.
knock on
That's
some
what
wood
I'm
after
fucking
that
trying to knock on
question.
some wood.
What about you, Scotty? What's the worst injury you've ever had?
Man, one time I popped my ribs and I didn't move for like 3 weeks.
What?
Something like that. I was like bedridden for like 2 weeks or something like that.
What?
I think that's the worst. I mean, I've had my knee fucked up real bad before where it like exploded and I was literally in tears from the pain. But I recovered. I didn't go to the doctor or nothing. I just fucking
It's a Marine right there. Well, you were in the military, right?
Yeah.
What branch?
Navy.
What do you guys think about that? What do you Marines think about this?
No, he gave me a ride out to where I needed to be.
Exactly.
I send gay jokes to Larry all the time, though. He was a foreman.
It ain't gay if it's underway.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's pretty funny, man. Oh my
So,
god.
dude, I don't want to take all your time here. So let's go ahead and wrap this up because Eric's got a hot date tonight.
You do. Yep. Got a hot young wife. Needs me to take her out on the town.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that.
So I want to ask you, do you have any advice for someone who's looking to make their debut in fighting, or maybe they're looking to step up their conditioning? Like what would you have, Spencer advice for someone who's looking to be more like you or maybe be where you're at?
They want to be a better martial artist? Like,
It could be martial artist, it could be, conditioning. It could be like how to be, as successful as you, because just from what I've heard, you've attained to a place that I think a lot of people would want to be at. So it could be any advice, essentially, is what I'm saying. Is like, what would be your key piece of advice to give to someone who's listening to this podcast?
Discipline over motivation. Hard work works. Be consistent. Develop a network. Build relationships with people. Get in with the right people that believe in you, that support you, that give you positive encouragement. Make sure that but not everybody is super blessed to have like a supportive family structure or like a wife or like family that supports them, but it's very important to find the friends and people that you do that are there to support you. In regards to being a better fighter and to improve conditioning, put in the work, man. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not an instant gratification thing, but at the end of the day that if you did something, that hit the nail on the head, it's another. What is it? It's like I'm trying to find a way to describe what I'm saying. It's like another hammer on the sword,
right.
Like it's another notch on the sword.
Right.
But it's like those small daily consistent wins over a long period of time will compound into something great. And just believe in yourself, envision where you want to be, take action to get to where that is, whether it's just 5 minutes of doing a very specific thing that you're trying to get into. Really, man, just show up.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest one.
Just show up, man.
If you don't feel like going, show up anyways.
Yes.
It has half the battle. You'll never regret a workout. Like you'll always be happy that you did it.
Reminds me of that Shia LaBeouf meme where he's like, just do it. He gave everyone the secret to the universe, and it got turned into a meme. But he's right. It's like the way. You just got to do it.
That's the thing, man. Is some people don't want to do.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
Man, like that's one thing that like when I first got into striking, like Muay Thai, boxing, I sucked so bad at it, and I like deeply resented going to class. I got beat up every day. The first time I showed up to war, I getting beat up every day, man. But just showing up, regardless of how I felt, has helped me keep getting better.
And those little incremental improvements, and you start to notice them one day. You're like, oh my God, this guy's not hitting me in the face as much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny to me how what you're saying can be seen as either the hardest thing in the world to do, right? Muay Thai training can be the hardest thing to do, or it can be the easiest, because you literally just said all you had to do is show up. One of the main reasons that I love martial arts is that you don't have to do anything to level up besides show up. If I beat you up, I leveled you up for you. All you had to do was survive, and because you felt me kicking your ass, you're gonna be better the next day. So it's like, most things in life are really hard to do because you have to do them on your own with no accountability. You have to do it for a long time. But in martial arts, if you just show up to the class, you're gonna get better. And then one day, a year down the road, you're not getting beat up as bad anymore. You didn't really have to figure anything out. It wasn't like someone gave you a problem and then you're alone in a room and you had to figure it out by yourself. You're literally in a class. Most white belts aren't picking anything up in the first 6 months. They're literally just in survival mode. But somehow, those motherfuckers are gonna end up being blue belts, purple belts, whatever.
Man, I thought about this the other day. I think I thought about this on my run. The difference between having no belt and a white belt, meaning you can take on like 90% of the world. At blue belt, you can take on 99% of the world. At purple belt, you could take on 99.9% of the world. 99.99 as a brown belt, as a black belt, 99.999. And so it's just like with every belt, with every day you show up, you got that 1% better, and it just adds up over time.
It's crazy if you just know a few things about grappling. Like Chris showed up 2 or 3 times, but he's watched so many jiu-jitsu videos.
He's been watching me. He's been recording me for a long time.
Yeah, dude. I saw him roll some dude, and I was like, "What? Who the fuck is this guy? This is a white belt." He's like on top of this dude. And I look over and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Still on top of me." It was funny, man. Dude, it was awesome having you, man.
Yeah, thank you
But I
so
know
much
we
for
tried to
having
do this for weeks and weeks and months, but finally got it done, man.
God's timing, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate
Yes,
you
thank
very
you so
much.
much.
bro.
Yeah.
Good shit,
brother.
Spence.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you, buddy.
Hey.
Hell yeah.